Baby steps?
It means setting small, reasonable goals for yourself, one day at a time. One tiny step at a time.
Baby steps.
Baby steps.
Oh boy. Baby steps.
Hello, my name is Jay, and this is episode 4 of Baby Steps Out the Door. I actually have a decent list of stuff that I've done, not only relating to the things that I gave myself last episode to do, also some other things that it's been years since I've done them, as well as just things that I've never really done before as well, and things that I've wanted to do forever that I'm finally starting to do. Let me start with how last episode's homework assignments went for me. So I gave myself 2. One of them was the no internet for a whole day, and the other was getting back into driving, even just doing a little bit of driving. And the summary for both of those right now is that I tried both of those. I did not succeed with one, but I tried both of them. So let me just kind of get them out of the way. Let me get the the one I did not succeed with first. On Friday, April 25th, that was the day that I tried to go a day without using the internet. I woke up about 6 o'clock in the morning, did a couple of morning exercises, took care of recycling, I watered the plants, I got some boxes together, I got all this stuff ready for a garage sale that was happening that weekend. A lot of that day was just loading up boxes into the car, unloading stuff, and setting up everything in the garage for the garage sale that was going to take place that Saturday. I did use it a couple of times throughout the day in the morning. One was just to look up GPS in order to get to a certain place. Another was to look up an eBay price for a certain item that was going to be a part of the garage sale, so I just did that very quickly. Another one was to send a YouTube video to somebody that asked for it, which I had promised that I would, so I went ahead and did that. And the only other time that I used it was to check times for a restaurant and see when it was going to open. I did all that off my phone, and every time that I did use my phone for the internet, it was only for like a minute, maybe less. Because as I said before, I don't really like using the internet on my phone. It's very slow loading pages. I'm very slow in navigating through it, so I just don't really prefer using the internet with my phone. Did not go on my laptop until 4:30 that afternoon. And as soon as I did not get off of it until about midnight. And I was just doing what I usually do on the laptop, which is just clicking around, looking at random stuff, looking at YouTube videos for several hours, and it didn't feel great. Looking back on it and realizing that I just wasted a bunch of time when I spent so much of that day getting stuff done. There was a day that I did another double feature for the movies. There was a couple of days where I went to some appointments. And today, the day that I'm recording this, was actually a day that I did my second homework assignment, driving. So I had mentioned this driving thing to 2 friends of mine. One of them I'll talk about a little bit later because the driving thing didn't work out with him, but we ended up doing something else instead. But the friend that did actually agree to help me drive and did take me driving was really cool about it. He knew a place that was just exactly what I was looking for to help me get back into driving. Just a giant open lot, no cars, just a lot of parking spaces, a lot of just open, empty spaces where I could just drive around and not worry about crashing into anyone or doing something awful or anything like that. It was perfect. And I did that for, I want to say 30 minutes, but I think it was maybe a little bit more than 30 minutes. It was a little bit nerve-wracking. My heart wasn't pounding out of my chest like I thought it would. Although as I was driving, trying to get a little more comfortable with it, I was getting like these flashbacks where I'm like, I think I always drove like this. Even when I was on the road amongst other cars, I think I still drove like this, where I would take turns extremely slowly, would be really bad at parking. But yeah, it felt awesome to drive again, and knowing that this was my choice to do this. I wasn't forced into it. It wasn't like when I was a teenager and I had really no interest in driving, which I know is strange because I'm sure a lot of teenagers want that sense of freedom to be able to drive themselves wherever they want to go and not have to rely on anybody else. But for me as a teenager, and I guess even me as an adult, I was totally fine just being a passenger. I didn't want any of the stress or complexities of driving. I didn't want to have that responsibility of being in the driver's seat, knowing that something horrible could happen if I just do one wrong thing or someone else does one wrong thing, and I'm not able to react to that quick enough. That's one of the things that's always terrified me about driving. And even while I was driving earlier today, that was something that I was still thinking of. And I didn't start thinking of that until I realized I'm not really checking my mirrors. Yeah, there's no cars around, but I should still get used to knowing to check my mirrors just to look out for anything that's behind me or next to me or gonna be next to me. I was doing a really bad job of that. Anytime I would check my mirrors, car would veer a little bit. I wouldn't be so straight anymore driving forward. I'm really relearning a lot of stuff that I totally forgot when driving. And even when I did drive, I didn't really drive by myself that much. I want to get to that point. It's going to take a bunch of these sessions to start driving. I need to get to a point where even if I'm driving just a little bit, I'm driving maybe once a day. Something small that I could do is just drive to the mailbox and drive back. It'll be like a 2-3 minute thing. I'm just circling around the block. That's all I got to do. I think I can do that. I don't know when I can push myself to do that. I still don't feel like I'm at the point that I can do that. So I think I am going to try to reach out to some other people, see if they can help me with driving. Because my friend's car, not a car I'm used to, it felt a lot different than other cars that I've driven in the past. So maybe I need to find somebody that has a car that I'm more used to, that I'm maybe a little more comfortable with. I mean, I was comfortable enough in his car, but maybe my sister has a car that I might be okay with. Yeah, as far as the driving thing goes, I'm going to call that a success. Doing at least 30 minutes, driving around for a little bit, yes, even an empty lot, it felt great. It was nerve-wracking. I was extremely rusty, going just way too slow sometimes, but this is one of my big goals. So I'm on my way. Now, there's some other things I want to talk about that I've done these past few weeks. 2 of them are really small, and then I'm going to move on to some other stuff. But one of the things was getting a haircut. I had been growing out my hair for, I think, 2.5 years. My hair is very thin. Long, thin hair does not feel great. It feels really yucky. It feels like a weed that needs to be cut. Last time I had a professional cut my hair, I believe, was in 2013. Between then and this year, anytime I would cut my hair, I would take my beard trimmer, just kind of buzz my hair down, not to like an army style, not to like a very clean cut, but down enough to where it is significantly shorter. I don't have to worry about any long hair getting in the way. And I can just kind of start over with a cleaner hair style, and I can wait a year, 2 years before I do it again. That's what I've done a few times. But I know every time that I would do it, I'm just like, ooh, this doesn't look good. I sort of want to stop doing this. Because it would either look really uneven, or I'd cut it too short, or the worst thing, and this was the thing that I hated the most about cutting my own hair, is screwing up the back. Anytime I would try to cut my hair or fix my hair in the back when I would just cut all my hair, it looked like it was like jammed in a paper shredder and then ripped out. It's so pointy and uneven, and it looked terrible. And every time I would see that, I just didn't want to cut my hair again. I guess I had the thought, I'll just let it grow out so I don't have to cut it. But no, it got to a point where I'm like, no, I need a cut. I hate this. I hate this hair. And when I went in to get my hair cut, I didn't get it cut like super short or anything. In fact, you wouldn't even think that I got a haircut. The hair that I have now it's like halfway down my neck, above my shoulder blades. Was a lot longer than that. I would say that they cut off like maybe half the length of hair that I did have, so it was long. The length. So here's actually the thing. When I went in, I had a reference photo. I pulled it up. I wanted a hairstyle similar to Robin Wright's in Blade Runner 2049. Always liked her hairstyle in that, and sure enough, that's the haircut that I got. However, I did not take into account what my hair would look like when it dried. Even though I got my hair cut and it looked pretty much the way I wanted it, once it dried, poofed out. And now it kind of looks like the hairstyle that I had in high school. So I guess I'm okay with that. I'm just happy not to be wearing hats again. I like wearing hats, but I don't really like wearing hats just to keep my hair in place. It's just more freeing not to wear a hat and not to worry about my hair. Another small thing that I did, which is not a big deal to some people, but for me, it's a mini win. It's a mini victory. I used a public restroom. And this was during the movie double feature I mentioned a little bit earlier that I had actually done like a few days ago. In between the 2 movies that I saw, I had about an hour wait time until the next one started. Actually, it wasn't that long. I thought it was going to be an hour. It ended up actually being like 40 minutes or something. But they don't start seating people or allowing people to sit down in the theater until about 20 to 25 minutes before it's supposed to start. So I had time to kill. As soon as I walked out of the first movie, I did feel a little bit like I had to use the restroom. And if I know there's that feeling in me where I could use the restroom, but it's not bad enough that I have to, that's when I just kind of think to myself, to control this feeling, instead of just relieving myself by going to the bathroom, I'm just not going to have any liquids until I'm back home or somewhere where I'm comfortable to use the bathroom. Then I can do my business. But because I had 40 minutes before the next movie, I just went to the bathroom. Nobody else in the bathroom, which is great. I could just do what I needed to do and not feel self-conscious or weird or feel icky or anything, knowing that I don't have to bump shoulders with anyone. And I can just kind of do my thing, be my germophobic self, and just avoid touching as many things in the bathroom as possible. And that's what I did. Went in there, did my business, washed my hands, got out of there. Easy peasy. That was huge for me. I haven't used a public restroom since 2017. So 8 years. I avoid them like crazy because of how just kind of grossed out I am about them. But I finally used another one. Small win. Only did it a number 1. I don't think I am quite at the place where I can work my way up to a number 2 yet. This is probably too much information, but anytime I drop a number 2, I always have to immediately shower afterward. If I don't, I just feel like all that stink and yuckiness is just stuck on my body, and it just makes me feel sweaty and itchy and just gross. So not quite there yet at the point to where I can use a public restroom for a number 2, which is why I'm still very careful about what I eat, when I eat certain foods before going out if I know that I have to go somewhere. I eat very light, and I eat foods that I know will not upset my stomach. So I haven't been in a position yet where I've been out in a public place and I felt like I had to do a number 2. Hasn't happened yet because I've been very careful about that. But one day it might, and I might not have a choice. And if that happens, I'm just going to have to live with it. So, some good news, some bad news. Let me get the bad news out of the way with first, and then I'll kind of move on to the good news. Bad news. Had a couple of dentist appointments recently. My teeth are in really bad shape. This is the 3rd dentist I've seen in, and I think maybe a year and a half or 2 years, something like that. First dentist that I had for pretty much my entire life, up till a certain point, up until like a year, 2 years ago. But due to a very unfortunate thing where they had to leave their office because their office was in a building that was going to be torn down, it just meant that we would either have to wait for him to find a new place before we go to him, or we just had to look for another dentist. And that's what we ended up having to do, just go to another dentist. Which it seemed like that was going to be our new dentist. That was just our new, the one that we would have for however long until we had to find another one. And it seemed like that was just going to be my new dentist. That was just going to be the one that I was going to be with until, I don't know. I didn't even think about what would happen afterward. I think I only saw her 2 or 3 times. Once was for a teeth cleaning. Once was to do this like impression on my teeth for a bite guard. And the 3rd time was just to pick up the bite guard. So yeah, I only saw her 3 times. And I thought I was going to see her a 4th because I had a scheduled appointment. Thing was, I was out of town. I wasn't able to go to that appointment, so I would have had to reschedule later. Not too long after that appointment that I was supposed to have, she just sends out like an email, and she just sends out a notice to all of her patients that she's going to, I think, retire. I don't know. It just seemed like that all the appointments that were already lined up, that she already had written down, she was going to take care of those. But everyone else, it's like, you're done. She's closing up shop. She's moving on to other things, which was a real shame because it's really nice to find something or someone that becomes your mainstay, that becomes the next familiar thing that you can rely on. It really stinks when you have to move from one place or one person to another, and then to another, and then to another, and then to another. That constant changing around is something that I've never been comfortable with in my life. Anytime I moved to a different school, it really sucked. It really took a lot out of me. Sometimes I would kind of have that feeling moving to a new home. But I've just never liked when I find something that I think I can be comfortable with and I think I can be happy with, and then it doesn't take long before that's just no longer an option. But thankfully, this new dentist that I found, pretty good option for one reason mainly, and that is they care about my teeth. They are actually telling me everything that is wrong with my teeth. My past 2 dentists did not do that. They would say, you might have some cavities. This is something you might need to deal with later. There was never an urgency with them. This new dentist, there is an urgency, and I love that. What I don't love, though, what I found out, being referred to an orthodontist, I'm going to need some braces, and I'm going to need a surgery in about a year and a half as well. Something I've known for a while is that my lower jaw is not aligned. It's kind of crooked. So my entire lower jaw is basically just moved over to one side by like half a tooth. I think it's been like that ever since I was maybe like 19, 20 years old, when I used to get very bored very easily. And what I would normally do was I would shift my jaw to one side and then bite down until I would feel like a clicking that for some reason I enjoyed. I don't know why, but I used to do it a lot. I'm pretty sure that's what screwed up my jaw. And I think that might have also led to my teeth grinding issue because I don't think I ever grinded my teeth before then. And it just really stinks that my teeth have been neglected for so long. This is something that should have been taken care of much sooner. I mean, I guess I don't mind getting braces. It's just a shame. It's kind of a lot of things that I'm finding out this year and have been finding out very recently. It's just a real shame that I'm doing stuff now that I've needed to do so much sooner. But that's the whole point of this year. That's the whole point of this podcast is just taking care of all of the things that I need to take care of. Which kind of leads me into other things that I want to talk about. That's the bad stuff. Now into the good stuff. Rewatched Yes Man recently. I don't know if I could do a whole episode about that. I think I'm just going to kind of scrap the talking about movie stuff. That was going to be more of a thing. If I really could not find something to talk about, I would talk about the movies until I realized that that's actually going to be very difficult to do on my own. But I rewatched the Jim Carrey movie Yes Man, and there were things about the movie that I totally forgot about. Like I was only focusing on the aspect where he says yes to all these things, and that betters his life. What I forgot about the movie is that him saying yes to everything, sure, positives came out of it, but negatives came out of it as well. He became basically a pushover to a lot of people that relied on him for too many things because they knew he would just say yes to everything. He accumulated way too much stuff in his apartment, stuff that he does not need, probably doesn't even use either. And for a brief period, he was separated from his girlfriend who thought that he only went after her and liked her because he was saying yes to everything. So there were some downsides to it. And I can use that as a learning experience. I can take that from it where it's like I don't have to say yes to every opportunity that presents itself to me. I don't have to yes man everything. But if it's something that isn't too extreme for me, it's worth trying out. So this leads me to my next thing. Something I ended up doing pretty recently was I went to a dance class. A friend of mine invited me to one. He sent me a link that showed one dance that was going to take like 45 minutes, something like that. The friend that I had mentioned earlier that did agree to help me with driving, but then ended up not, he was the one that invited me to the dance class. First we hung out for a little bit, went to a coffee shop before we went over to the dance studio, which wasn't even a dance studio. It was like the lobby area of a soccer field, an indoor soccer field. It's very strange. I agreed to do it because I knew he was going to be there with me. Like I had no idea what it was going to be like. And even him like describing it to me, I'm like, yeah, I still don't really know what it's going to be like. And as soon as I walked in the door, I just nerves just everywhere, every part of my body. A couple people were already in there. I'm not good at small talk. I'm not good at introducing myself and mingling and everything like that. And I was just kind of like put in a corner for a couple of minutes with somebody else. Wasn't really talking to them. They weren't really talking to me. I tried, I think, making a joke or something about like the music. Like it changed from one song to another. And I'm like, oh, I kind of miss the last song that was on. Which made them kind of walk away from me and just be like, yeah, I'm going to go talk to some other people. Because that's what you do at these things. And I was just like, oh, this was a mistake. I shouldn't have come to this thing. Because I'm being super awkward right now. I don't know what to do. And I'm just kind of in this moment of panic. But the friend who invited me to this thing kind of came up to me and said, no, you're here because this is something, this is you challenging yourself. This is something you want to do and you need to do. He said something like that. And I'm like, you're right. You're absolutely right. That's the whole reason that I agreed to go to this thing that I had no interest in whatsoever. That I only went because I knew he was going to be there. And here's how it went. The class did not end up being 45 minutes like I thought it was going to be. It ended up being 2 hours. What I did not realize, the link that he sent me is just the time slot for one of the dances in this 2-hour time span. We did 3 different dances. Salsa was one, two-step was another. I can't remember the third, but that one and salsa really sucked. Two-step, I was able to do that. The other ones, since I have no dance experience whatsoever, fumbling a lot. And that just kind of led to more awkwardness and more internally freaking out. There was like 20 people that were there. And it was a pretty even split. There was 10 men, 10 women. And every few minutes, the instructor, the teacher would just say, okay, everyone move over one place so that every man would have a chance to dance with every woman that was there. And here's the great thing about it. Well, actually, let me tell you the worst thing about it. 2-hour class, within the first 10 minutes, I was already drenched in sweat. and we hadn't even started dancing yet. I don't even remember if it was like that hot inside that room. Everyone else seemed fine. I didn't see anybody else sweating except for one person who was like very open about it, who I think ended up being the person that I connected with the best in that class, in that room. But yeah, something that was cool about it, interesting about it. There were some people there that knew how to dance. Some people there, no idea, just as clueless as me, and there were some other new people there as well. So it was a good kind of smattering of just people of all different experiences, which was great. That helped me out a lot. The instructor was going like way too fast for me. Like he was teaching the class in a way where it almost seemed like he assumed everyone there at least had some sort of dance experience. Maybe not realizing or not caring that I think half the people there had like no dance experience whatsoever. Now I I am somebody that is not a very touchy person. I like my personal space. I'm not crazy about hugs. I'll hug if it's a good hug or if it's someone that I want to hug, but most of the time I keep to myself. Handshakes are cool, but all of my handshakes are basically dead fish handshakes. So having to step way outside of my comfort zone and be that personal with somebody, or not just somebody, several somebodies, that took a lot out of me. As the class was going on, I was getting a little more comfortable, trying to be a little more talkative. Like, I was especially talkative with not only the people that knew how to dance, that were extremely patient with me, and I am so, so thankful for every single one of those people that were so patient with me, even to the point where when I'm messing up and I'm kind of feeling down on myself, they'd be like, no, you're doing great. Don't worry about it. That was awesome. I needed that kind of support. So I'm incredibly thankful for those people that were so helpful with me and so patient with me. And I'm also thankful for the people that, again, were just kind of just as clueless as I was. They were kind of not really stepping along with the beat, weren't really doing the right foot movements and everything. We're both just like, yeah, I don't know what I'm doing either. Let's just kind of do our own thing or something. That was fun too. I really wish it hadn't been 2 hours, but, I got through it. It wasn't something on my checklist of things to do, but it was something different. It was something I pushed myself to do. It was something I yes-manned and decided, let me try this. Why not? What's the worst that could happen? Couple bad memories? Maybe. But a couple good stuff too. I don't remember two of the dances very well, which were the ones I struggled with a lot, but I at least know how to two-step now. Or at least know how to do the instructor's version of a two-step, which was, it just felt like, what about Bob's baby stepping, where he's doing the very tiny little baby steps around the room. That's how he was doing it. I'm like, oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm baby stepping right now. I'm doing it. So that was interesting. Not what I thought it was going to be. Very nerve-wracking. I was super, super sweaty the entire time. A few people commented on it. One in particular was like, are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, I'm just super sweaty, that's all. But yeah, it was all right. I don't think I'm ever going to go back to those classes. Your first class there is free. All the other ones you got to pay for. I think I'm good. Doing it just once, I'm cool with it. But yeah, again, it ended up being okay. I'm more happy that I did that than feeling like that was weird. I shouldn't have done it. More good came from it than bad, is the way that I'm looking at it. Yes, it was awkward, but I got through it. Shared a couple of laughs with other people, talked with some other people a little bit, pushed myself to talk with other people, which is something I don't know how to do. I was just kind of in this very personal, intimate, kind of close personal space with someone where I was kind of forced to just open up and say stuff. So again, more good than bad came from that. So the thing that I saved for last is something that I'm really excited about. This is something I've wanted to do ever since I was a teenager, probably since I was a freshman in high school. I've wanted to do this. Voice acting. I'm taking lessons for voice acting right now. I had a free seminar, free first lesson. This was pretty much just a bunch of people listening to this person say what doing voice acting is like and trying to encourage people that are interested in to sign up for this class. And I'm really glad I did that free seminar because within that hour-long seminar, I'm like, I'm sold. I fully believe that what I'm hearing right now is what I need. Maybe not to pursue this, but at least try. Every Thursday in the month of May, I'm doing a 2 to 2.5 hour lesson with like 9 other people. All online, all on Zoom. Just had my first one not that long ago. And while I was very nervous the entire time, a lot of the stuff that I was being told, a lot of the things that I was taking notes on, I'm like, this is cool. This is stuff I want to know. This is stuff that I'm really excited to learn about. everyone kind of had their chance to sort of speak up and read something to just kind of, give everyone an impression of like where they're at. And everyone actually went around, one by one, introducing themselves, telling them why they're here and all that stuff. Everyone there is for like the exact same reason. This is something that they want to do. This is something they want to, if not pursue, they're very curious to try it out. Like as nervous as I was there, most everyone else in that class has pretty much no experience. Like we are all there for the exact same reason, and it's awesome. I did read a couple of stuff, and it was fun doing that, even though I had to do a little bit of improvisation. Don't really know how to do that. Even though I would still have to do an improv class one day, even if it was just a one and done, I'd still like to try it. So towards the end of the class, we were given a choice to pick a very short, almost like 30-second ad. It was all written out. We'd read it to ourselves, practice it to ourselves, and then we'd read it aloud to everyone else that was in the class. Of the list of ads that I could choose from, I chose the one at the very bottom that was Viking cruise ships or something like that. Everything else that was on there, I didn't even like click on them to like read through it real quick to see what it was all about. I'm like, Viking. Just that word alone. Viking. I want to try something with this. I don't care what it's about. There's something I want to try with this. So that's the one that I chose. And when it was time to present our stuff, let me say, when I was practicing, I don't know how this ended up happening, but everyone else got like buddied up with somebody. Like everyone was doing their own thing with one other person. I just ended up by myself. I wasn't supposed to be by myself. I was supposed to be with somebody else, but for some reason we just didn't end up being in the same Zoom room. So the coach of the class actually went into the room with me just to sort of help me out a little bit, choosing something and then reading through it. And the way that I didn't want to practice it this way, but the way I ended up, from what she was saying, practicing it, was trying to sell the luxury aspect of the cruise ship. Trying to make it seem like this really relaxing and enchanting kind of getaway. Which I think I did okay-ish at doing when I read it that way, but that's not the way I presented it. 2 other people chose the same ad that I did. One person went before me and one person went after me. The person that went before me basically read it the way that I practiced it. And I thought, I don't want to do it like that. I think I'm going to go with my gut instinct and read it and deliver it in the way that I envisioned it before I even saw a single word of the actual script. I want to take a chance here. And I told the coach that. She gave me the okay. I'm like, okay, deep breaths, deep breaths. I muted myself for like 5 seconds just to practice this weird voice. This is what I envisioned. This is what I wanted to do. Can I still do that voice? Okay, I think I can. Came back in, and I did this really hammy, really ridiculous pirate voice that part of me regrets, but I'm still really happy I did it because I really wanted to just shake off those nerves and just do something weird and big and fun. I wanted to have fun. For 2 hours, I was incredibly nervous in the session, and I really wanted to just get rid of those nerves or just forget about them for a little bit and just do something weird and fun. I don't know how everyone else felt about my strange choice, but I'm still glad I did it. I'm glad I went with that. I'm doing a class like this to challenge myself, to show what I'm capable of, even if it's not very good, and learn from the mistakes that I make. And I got myself a couple of homework assignments for the next voice acting class that I have, so those I gotta do very soon. It's pretty much just reading over more commercial stuff. I think I have to record myself for those. Or maybe I just have to look over them and then I choose one and then I'm going to read through those during the next session. I'm not entirely sure. I have to look through the email again, but I'm really excited about these classes that I'm taking. This is something I've wanted to do for a very, very long time, for like half my life. I'm finally taking a major step to something I want to do, not need to do or feel like I need to do, but actually want to do. And it feels amazing. I'm incredibly happy that I made myself do this. Who knows if anything's going to come from it? Who knows if the next 3 sessions just don't go the way that I think they're going to go? But I'm still excited about it because this is something I want to do. And just to end off this episode that's actually gone a lot longer than I thought I was going to, one last thing that I'm going to talk about. So I haven't finished any more books since the last episode. I'm in the middle of reading one currently. It was a book that my brother-in-law loaned to me for a little bit called Writer's Digest Guide to Magazine Article Writing. This was something that he had read and said that it was very helpful for him whenever he was struggling with coming up with ideas of things to write about, or in my case, since I mentioned the podcast to him, to talk about as well. As I'm reading this book, I'm realizing not everything in this book is helpful to me because so much of it is about specifically magazine article writing. Which makes sense, because on the cover of the book, those are the biggest words. Those are the ones that are in bold print. And while that stuff doesn't really help me out, there is a lot of very useful and very cool information in there about how to come up with ideas of things to talk about and write about. And kind of the things that I've been taking notes on throughout that book are all of the bullet points that are listed in there of this is where you can go to come up with ideas. They say things that I kind of already knew. Like the things that they say that I already knew is write what you know. But then they kind of contradict that later on by saying, write what you don't know. Basically challenge yourself into finding other things to write about. And then there's also a mention of sometimes some of the best ideas come to you when you're just showering. I'm like, yep, that's happened to me where I'm in the shower and I'm just like, I need to write this down, but where do I where do I write it down? What do I do right now? I'm kind of panicking. Do I just stop mid shower and write it down, or I just kind of recite this repeatedly in my head until I'm done? But yeah, there's a lot of really interesting bullet points in that book of just different places to look in order to come up with new ideas. So I've been writing those down, and I'll probably go through those if I'm ever struggling with coming up with topics or things to talk about. Or also, I just want to get back into writing. So I think just reading some of those things might just help me kind of come up with ideas either to write some new stuff or just finish things that I started writing and never saw through. So I'm enjoying reading this book, even if a lot of it just doesn't really get to me in the way that I want it to. Because a lot of it's just magazine articles, not something I want to pursue, not really my thing. But there's still a lot of cool stuff in the book that is, I think, going to be very helpful if I ever want to use a couple of the suggestions that are in there to actually come up with ideas. And this is where I'm at right now. Just the past few weeks, this is all the stuff that I've done. Some of these things were very recent. Some of these things were either probably like yesterday or just a little bit earlier in the week. But yeah, this is what I've been up to. I feel like I'm doing stuff. I feel like I could be doing more. I always feel like I could be and should be doing more, but I'm making progress. I'm doing things I want to. I'm doing things I need to. I know I'm not doing it at the fastest pace, but I'm doing stuff. I started somewhere with some things and I'm not quitting on them. Even the homework assignments that I gave myself from the last episode, I at least tried them out. One of them I succeeded with. I'm going to say the driving was a success. Internet thing, I tried it and realized that I was kind of insane for doing that thing. I should still probably set limits for myself on using screens and using the internet. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to give myself 3 homework assignments. One of them is to do another driving lesson. I could reach out to my sister to help me, maybe one of my friends to help me, maybe my mom to help me. But I need to do another one. I need to get more comfortable. Maybe not 30 minutes, maybe an hour this time. Or maybe another 30 minutes. Just keep it low for now and then kind of ramp it up later. It's going to be my first one, my first homework assignment. Second one is going to be getting out of the house, going on those walks again that I started doing earlier this year and then just stopped doing. I would go out, walk around for 30 minutes to a day, get a little bit of exercise in, get a little bit of fresh air, and then I just stopped doing it because I think I got bored of it. But it feels good. It feels good getting out of the house. Maybe that's something I start doing again. Even if it's not every day, just, going out a few times a week. For like 30 minute walk. Just around the neighborhood. Homework assignment number 2. Just go on more walks. I could do that. And then I'm going to give myself a third assignment. And this is a reward. This is a little bit of dessert. This is supposed to be a treat. I got a video game recently in the mail. Shantae Advance. It's only out for Game Boy Advance, and it's only out for people that pre-ordered that Game Boy Advance cartridge like a year or so ago, which I did, and I have it, and I haven't started playing it. I want to. I just feel like there's other stuff that I've been doing, or other things that have just made it hard for me to get into it. Like, it's just been hard for me to jump into video games lately, and I think part of me thinks that I'm trying to spend this year doing things I need to do to get my life on the right track, and video games just kind of feel like a distraction. They kind of feel like a way to step aside from those things that I want to do and just kind of put them on hold. It feels like I'm wasting time by jumping into a video game that'll take me several hours to get through. I don't know how long Shantae Advance is, but I want to play that because I've been waiting for this game for a long time, and it will just really suck if this becomes another backlog game that I get and just never play, and it just sits on my shelf for the longest time. I adore the Shantae series. They are these Metroidvania-style games that I actually don't mind playing. I've never really connected with Metroidvania games. There's just this thing of being lost and alone in this giant world that you constantly have to backtrack through. I've never liked that kind of stuff. I've never liked the backtracking in video games. I've never liked going to a place where you're stuck and you can't advance because you need to go somewhere else first. And you don't know that you need to go somewhere else first because you're supposed to go to that locked door first to find out that it's locked to then go to somewhere else. And that's always just frustrated me in those Metroidvanias. But for whatever reason, Shantae makes it fun. And I think it's because there's a lot of really enjoyable characters in there. It is a very colorful series. I really love the humor in those games. And it's one of the few video game franchises where every new installment in the game is better than the last. At least for me. I'm still really looking forward to playing it. So that's going to be my third goal. That's going to be my little treat to myself is play Shantae Advance. Because I've been making progress. I've been doing some cool stuff. So I'm going to start doing some more driving, go on some walks, and play a game. Play a video game that I've been wanting to play for a long time. Just for fun. I think I can do all those. And I'll talk about how it goes next time. Yeah, these past few weeks have been surprising to me because a lot of things popped up that I wasn't expecting to do and ended up doing them. I'm excited to see what happens, the rest of this month because I know I got a lot of stuff planned this month. More appointments, but also more voice acting classes and some other things as well. So I'm busy this month doing stuff. I'm excited. I cannot wait for the next episode. And this episode is running very long, so this is going to be a pain in the butt to edit. But that's okay. I also enjoy editing these episodes, so I don't mind doing that. So I guess that's just where I'm going to leave it off right now. I got a busy month coming up. Got 3 goals that I can't wait to tackle. And I'll talk about how it goes next episode. But until then, once again, my name is Jay. Bye for now.